Hi, and welcome to Buddhism for Everybody. My name is Tim. In this video, I'm going to talk about the paths, or the yanas. This is the Sanskrit word for path, the yanas. And this kind of path means we are beginning a journey from here, where we are now, our present state of awareness and being, and seeking an outcome in the future, a process of self-transformation. So being on a Buddhist path is like climbing a mountain, and the goal is to reach the peak. Sometimes you can see this peak clearly, and sometimes it's hidden, obscured by clouds. And there are many possible routes you could choose to get there, but some are better than others. And some of the paths will get you higher up, but they don't go all the way to the top. So having a good map or diagram is a big help. And sometimes having a guide with you who has already made the ascent can help you avoid dangers and difficulties. The first thing to know is there are worldly paths and transcendent paths. I spoke about this briefly in the video on turning the wheels of Dharma. Worldly refers to samsara. Buddha described all the limitless possibilities of a sentient being existence as the 6 realms of samsara. We, if you're like me, are classified as sentient being humans, which is one of the 6 realms. But all sentient beings cycle through each of the 6 realms over and over as countless lifetimes unfold, one after another. This is why the visual depiction of the 6 realms looks like a wheel. So any worldly path we could follow means it will lead us somewhere, but this will always be another experience somewhere in samsara. The Sanskrit word for this kind of path is lokayana, a path or yana which cannot go beyond samsara. It results in the experience of one of the 6 realms. And why is this important to know? Because depending on what choices we make now, what kind of view we have of ourselves, these things, they'll determine what we will experience next. What happens next is not random or determined by some external being or power. It is determined by ourselves. Thinking is powerful and thinking is cause. And if we blindly repeat some goals and aspirations, then our future will unfold accordingly. But if we knowingly make choices, we can manifest more beneficial outcomes. And a worldly path can be one of either great suffering or great enjoyment, or anything in between. A worldly path can be virtuous or non-virtuous, and our experiences will reflect that with the corresponding qualities. Buddha taught these lokayanas so we could clearly identify what kind of path we are following now, and then understand where that path will take us. This is to understand what kind of future we are shaping for ourselves. The lokayanas are divided into 2 groups. Each has 4 parts, giving us a total of 8. 8 categories of worldly paths. 4 are considered non-virtuous and 4 are considered virtuous. These 2 groups of 4 align with the 3 upper realms of samsara and the 3 lower realms. The 4 non-virtuous lokayana paths result in lower realm experiences, and the 4 virtuous lokayana paths result in upper realm experiences. So if you follow a non-virtuous worldly path, it will produce the experiences of either animal realm, hungry ghost realm, or hell being realm. Likewise, following a virtuous worldly path results in the experiences of either a human realm, demigod realm, or God realm. In all of these cases, these paths lead to experiences of samsara and the suffering that is samsara. They do not and cannot result in transcending samsara. They are the paths of sentient beings, not enlightened beings. Knowing these is very useful in understanding our life goals and the life goals of those around us. Ask which goals do we have and what kind of experiences will these goals lead to. Buddha taught these Lokayanas so we could introspectively ask these questions and then see the likely answers. So the Lokayanas deserve a more detailed description, and there will be a video on this soon. Then there are the paths of enlightenment, which are called the Paramita Yanas, which is Sanskrit for transcendent path. What makes them transcendent and not worldly is ultimately the intention. And to have such an intention, you would need to believe the goal of enlightenment is possible. A sentient being who wants to become enlightened would be on one of these paths. The first of these paramita yanas, or transcendent paths, is called the Sutra Yana. It is the transcendent path of Buddha's sutra teachings. Buddha's teachings are traditionally known as the 84,000 sutras, which he taught during the 47 years he was in this world as a teacher, after achieving awakened omniscient. All of his teachings are elaborations on the Four Noble Truths of the Enlightened, and many Buddhist traditions in the world today are based on these sutra teachings. So altogether they are called the Sutrayana. The next level of Buddhist path is the Mahayana. This is defined by the addition of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the supreme enlightened intention to become Buddha, to benefit oneself and at the same time to help all beings accomplish this goal as well. Dual intention, benefit for oneself and others. As a Buddhist practitioner, this is the stage where one might formalize bodhicitta, the intention, by taking the bodhisattva vow. And I'll say more about vows in another video. This is the Mahayana, the level of Buddhist practice which includes, or you might even say features, bodhicitta. So this yana, this path, is Maha, which means great. It is the great path because the intention is not limited to oneself, but includes all beings. The teachings in Mahayana are both sutra and tantra, because Mahayana simply requires bodhicitta. So the sutras can be practiced with bodhicitta, and then this becomes a Mahayana path. And the tantras are practiced with bodhicitta, and these are also Mahayana paths. All of these are transcendent paths, which, when properly followed, will get you out of samsara. So what then is the main difference? Put concisely, it's the time it will take to get you to the goal, to manifest the result, either enlightenment or Buddha. Sutrayana takes much longer, whereas the Tantrayana is known as the swift path. The scope of these paths is usually described in lifetimes of accumulated practice. So a Sutrayana practitioner focused mostly on conduct may be looking at multiple hundreds of lifetimes of practice to attain egoless wisdom, whereas a Mahayana or Tantrayana practitioner can accelerate the process enormously. At the pinnacle of practice, there is the yana of Ati Yoga, which is also known as Dzogchen in the Tibetan language. The term means the great inclusion, as this path includes all the features of every other path, and, in addition, it includes the final transformative step to awakened omniscient, Buddha. And this is another point about the yanas that is important. They begin with the Sutrayana, and then they add bodhicitta intention and become Mahayana. Next, the Tantra practices continue the paths. But as one accomplishes each next stage, nothing is abandoned from the previous stage. It's like a software upgrade, if you will, one that does not remove features, but enhances them and also adds new ones. This is true throughout the whole system of yanas, because this is how Buddha taught, and how we make progress on the path of Buddhism. Now, this is just an outline or an overview of the paths. There are enormous details that can be learned and studied, and Buddhism is very rich in scholarly study. Here, I've just laid out the basic structure and terms as I understand them. Like looking at a map, seeing the most prominent features first. The Sutrayana, then the Mahayana, and the Tantrayana. The paths of Buddhist transcendence. Thanks for watching this video. You can leave questions and comments in the chat if you're so inspired, and who knows, maybe this will result in a new video, a new topic. Our goal with this channel is always to upgrade and improve, and we welcome feedback. And with YouTube, a like or subscribe is really appreciated. We have plans for more content here at Buddhism for Everybody. Till next time.